And right now we have Luca Pretolesi. Hello. Sitting
Hello,
down
hello.
in interview mode.
How you doing? How you doing?
So what we'll do is talk about a bit about Luca, what you do,
Right.
your studio in Vegas, your work, and then we'll go into more specific details about the hidden world of EDM.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
because I guess a lot of those guys do maybe rock, pop stuff, and EDM has changed quite a bit drastically in the last
Sure.
couple of years in terms of mixing and workflow and even mastering, and you do all of that. So,
Right.
why did you start with? How did you actually get into like EDM? Why that's not a music?
It was a kind of natural progression. So been doing for like over 20 years, and I went from first learn what is recording. So I went to a recording school when I was 16 years old. So I learned recording, I learned everything. I fell in love with electronic music, producing, and then mixing was like really my art. Like always been like the mixing, like the final stage of any record that was like really my art on electronic music. So and at one point, dance music became mainstream, and pop music and dance music one thing. So I felt there was a lot of appreciation about quality of mixing applied to dance music versus for a good 10 years, it was like a do-yourself type of thing where you...
So people would
Right.
just essentially produce the
Yeah.
music, finish it, and go like, okay, I'm done, and just release it into the world.
Exactly, essentially, yeah.
Okay.
And always been like, even like when I was really, really young, people say, wow, your record sounds really, really good. It was like, because I'm mixing my record. Okay. And mixing instead of like during the writing process or production process, try to make it right. My point was always being like, I do enough to just come up with another shirt. It's like I'm a mixing engineer right now,
Yeah.
and I'm going to mix my record. Anyway, so that was really my passion, you know. I'm lucky enough that right now we raised the bar at the point where dance music, hip hop, pop, rock, everything needs like quality mixing, you know, regardless the sound. So.
And you think is it because of like that recent merge of like there's no more like just EDM and just
Right.
hip hop and just pop music, that there's a
Right.
bit of a
Yeah.
like everything is getting mixed into one another, especially with I think most of your latest project that you've been doing, and we'll get to that. But did you have also an experience as a more like a DJ type of deal?
Yes.
Is it an important part of the trade?
Yeah,
that
I
you-
think being a DJ, it was like similar to other colleagues that I have. Like they've been started as a guitar player, and other guys they're drummers. And my background was a DJ. So when I listen and mix, when I approach a mix as with a DJ mentality, which is dynamic, build certain energy through the mix, thinking as an intro, outro, a story that is a story mixing wise through the song. Dynamically, I want to capture people. I want to have a build up through the song where I'm going to hit in the second chorus of the song. I want to have more RMS level. So there's a lot of technicality, but it starts from
your DJ background.
From a DJ background,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
When you are on your mixer for DJ, that you cut the bass and you build, you give you more gain on the drop. That's what I'm doing on the mixing stage of the song.
Yeah, I understand. And I was talking just earlier about the recent, I guess it may be more an American thing. I mean, you're from Europe, and then when that EDM thing,
Right.
but a big wave was maybe earlier than and it became here.
Correct.
And then the merge of like, I mean, maybe name a recent project where you think like that. I mean, we've also the Justin Bieber,
Right. So there was like a moment
Skrillex
in history,
thing.
right?
Yeah.
So, and I felt, in my case, Steve Aoki first album that I mixed, there was one of the first big dance album with like a pop budget regarding like video quality, mixing, production, and so that was one of the first like project, pure EDM going mainstream.
Yeah.
And then from there, a lot of singles. I've been involved with Major Lazer for many records, and even from the first album to the second album was just like going from one level to another. But the attitude, approach from the producer, from the mixer was exactly the same. It was just like recognition. So at one point, what we're doing is going well. So
Because it's now mainstream, it's not going to be like
Right.
more like a pop record.
Exactly.
We can put the same amount of money, same amount of
Right.
production,
Right.
and it's not considered like, oh, it's just EDM for clubs anymore.
No, it's
Yeah.
not, exactly. It's a couple other record, Turn Down For What, which is a big song from Lil Jon, that I did a stem mastering because the song is also so simple, the way it's been produced and recorded, but it went viral, it went so big, and again, it just went from between hip-hop and EDM right in the middle, so it opened even more, you know, so it's...
So you still do like strict, complete EDM, like there's going to be just in clubs, and then really things that are going to go completely mainstream and
Yeah,
pop.
and I feel now because there is a need of like a dance track has to translate in radio, absolutely. my approach is always make sure that whatever I'm doing when the song is being delivered is going to sound well everywhere, regardless.
Yeah.
So if there is vocals, I want to make sure the vocal is organic and it cut well everywhere, from TV, from radio. Now, on final stage of mastering, we're doing little tricks to make sure that the song is going to translate well. So a song that has a lot of RMS level and less dynamic, we do like a dynamic mix for radio stations. We do little tricks.
Yeah, and then later on, actually, the cool thing is you'll show actual examples of what you mean by that.
Right.
What could be different a bit about the EDM business that.
Yeah.
We met a while ago because of essentially the Focal speakers that you own,
Right.
And I want to talk about a bit about your studio because it's a little special.
It is.
Especially the little portion.
Yeah.
And especially want to talk about my part. I mean, we work with Focal speakers, and Luca owns the SM9 speakers.
Right.
And one of the things that was really interesting, at least for us, and a lot of people came to your studio, hear what you were doing, and the quality that's coming out of there is amazing. And we became aware that you actually own the speakers,
Right.
and contacted you, and then you sent us a picture of the studio, and we'll go into the studio detail, and you can tell the story about
Absolutely.
how you built the studio in Vegas, Studio DMI, and
Right.
and how it came to be, and maybe you want to get into more of your specific studio build.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we have essentially 2 rooms, and one has a different purpose, completely different purpose. It's production and writing instead of the Wing Casino, and then we have our mixing / hybrid mastering room in our other facilities. So, and they have a different purpose, but with the same vision. That I like to share with you guys, of course.
Yeah. So that's
let's check it out.
one of the rooms.
Okay, what we see in the back is the small wing studio inside of the Wing Casino, very small, which is I'm very proud because we put together with a lot of love. And I want to mention also Audio LA. They did an amazing job to help us to put together the studio. So Jared has been involved a lot on the production of the studio, and as you can see, it's a simple. We have a SSL matrix. We have the Focal SM9s in a very small room. We end up with those speakers because the concern was, okay, we want to have certain low-end information. We want to have certain power but control, and the room was very small, and those speakers are the best in our experience to translate in a small
and
space.
just so usually from a picture it's different. Some things look bigger in the picture. Not you specifically, but
right.
How big is that room? Because actually, right now, the person taking the picture is against the wall.
It's so small. It's like the entire desk has another a feed, and that's it. It's just so small.
Yeah.
Then okay. That's some session in the studio. That's the kind of good memories that we have in the studio. The one on top, it's Skrillex, Diplo, GTA. Myself checking, try to spy what Skrillex is doing with his plugin, and the 2 singers in the back. Then we have Diplo and Dylan Francis working a song. I'm checking emails right in the back. That's the first time that Jermaine Dupri came to the studio, and he was shocked by the speakers. I think Jacob, somebody from the team that was here, it was literally say, wow. It's what's going on? It was, cannot believe it. And his question was funny. It's how can I, grab these speakers? It's they're so heavy. It was fun. It was really impressive.
Yeah, we put bricks into it. French bricks are the heaviest.
So JD loved it. He came to play the Mariah Carey album for us, and it was a blast. And when you play the song from Mariah Carey, you don't know what you have to say, right? You say amazing or just. So we just listened. It was great. Then DJ Snake over there.
So one day you might actually work with major artists. Looks like you're doing okay.
Yeah. A little bit more. Oh, so that's Skrillex and Diplo working on the Jack U project. That's Nightmare, the Little John that he approved, the Turn Down for What record. That photo is really important. That's really changed a lot for us. That's Mo in the booth. That's Diplo and myself recording Lean On.
Yeah.
And Lean On has been something weird because it was a demo, and they say, hey, can we record something? I'm not a recording engineer on our team. I'm the mixer guy.
In case there's somebody here that's been in the dark for the past couple, you want to tell a little bit? I mean, maybe
we'll
play the song a little bit. Yeah,
let's play.
And then we'll tell the story about how it came to be and all that because it's quite interesting.
I love it. I'll play the song. See if somebody remember. It's a song for less than 2 years ago, but it went pretty good. It's a song. Yeah. That's a beautiful video, actually.
Do you recall not long ago?
That's the moment right there. Sounds great.
It's
pretty good.
The night was warm, we were bold and young.
It's, so pretty amazing. Good song.
So you guys have heard this one? Maybe once or
Yeah,
twice?
about 1 billion people listen to this one. So essentially, the session came about like people Skype me from Holland. They say I'm doing a demo.
Yeah.
Eventually, we're gonna record something, and then as usual, can we record when? Like today, for today. And then I'm usually not the recording guy on the team, but everybody's busy. I'll go, I'll record, I'll go myself, sit next to him in Blender, and we record for like 9 hours. And then at one point, Scott came, Rescue, and Jacob, and all the guys from the studio to start to comp this thing. But the approach from the band was like, it's one of those songs from the album. Never be like, honestly, was one of the few who say, guys, sounds like a hit to me. But even then it was different because Dan Snake, he had the little drop. There was a lot of changes. The song has a lot of ends into that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we did a lot of work. And then it was like one of the biggest songs came from our small room.
And I think we were discussing before that you said that even it was just a filler for the album.
It was
just
a
like it
filler.
was just like let's put another
Actually,
track in there.
it came with two purposes. It was a filler from the album, but then from there it became, I think, a song that it changed dance music, pop music in the past 2 years.
Because suddenly you had like really what we were talking about at the beginning, that merge of like it's not dance, it's pop, it's one
It's
and,
one
and
thing.
it has like
And
1.5
actually,
billion views.
It's
on-
funny because Wallace mentioned that after this song, we probably mix about 40 or 50 songs that want to be lean on. Like a bunch of producers like, oh, that's another one, 110, 15 BPM, slow with that vibe. So it was kind of cool to be there and then now see an entire wave of music coming, just follow this path.
Even
Like,
that technically it's like you said it's a 2-year-old.
over 2 years, actually October, today, Scott, today, October 4th was the day that actually we recorded the song
Yeah.
2 years ago. And then it was like incubated for like 9 months and then,
Crazy.
yeah, it's incredible.
Good job. It's been viewed by a few people. Like you said, there's 1.5 billion views on YouTube.
I did 1.6 billion. I think it was the second most viewed songs after the Gangnam Style song. It's pretty decent, right?
It's okay.
So, can we talk about
Yeah, absolutely. So
That
you have
will
the
be
second
around.
part of the studio.
Yeah, so this is our Studio A. That's where we spend pretty much entire life.
Yeah.
And we're very proud about this room. I can talk about this room for days. Once again, great help from Pretolesi for put this together with us. The room actually start in a proper way. Means, okay, let's design the room. Let's shoot the room, see what is the best possible dimension.
So you started this one from scratch. It was,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Like warehouse, open space. Let's build like a box inside of this open space.
Yeah.
That's going to become our studio. So from that point, we have the best ratio between the ceiling, the depth, room. So it's like essentially 16, 22, 11.
Okay.
It's great.
Much bigger than the other one. Yeah.
Much bigger than the other one. It sounds amazing. Same speakers. We want to make sure that we keep consistency with the sound.
Sure.
We want to between rooms. It's interesting how the SM9s, they translate amazing in that room. The room is big. Our concern is like, wow, we need a lot of power, but we need good power. And the speakers, what really I'm proud of most is if you play at 25 dB or 75 or 85, there's no changes. I mean, we trust a lot. So that's the room. It's based on hybrid setup on a mastering desk. There's mixing and mastering gear in one place.
Yeah.
We have some vintage stuff. Very, very simple setup. And again, it's a hybrid of everything. Faders, and I have like 2 summing device, a mastering console in the middle, and we do all our work.
So, a question about your hybrid setups, and since you're doing mixing and mastering, is it because you have a lot of mixing jobs and mastering jobs, or is it because specifically for the style of music that you do, that is just a mixing mastering chain because it's completely different?
Yeah, it's kind of like mastering. It's final stage of mixing for us.
Yeah.
And sometimes in a very complex songs, we try to take a break. But most of the mixing work, a little bit my style of mixing, is get it right from the beginning. So mastering is pure RMS level. How loud we want to go. Everything it's actually controlled on the mixing stage. I'm not going to reinvent the mix.
But you see this as one chain, not
I
as a
see it
separate
as
process.
one chain. I even see plug-in hardware gear, everything as components that go together. One is on the screen, one is right there.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking those as one works with the other ones. It's not really. It's an hybrid setup, But to me, when I'm thinking a piece of gear, which is hardware or software,
Yeah.
I'm thinking as a two piece of gear that work together, regardless. You
So
know?
it's essentially electronic EDM. It's not common to have like a guy, like as you said initially,
Right.
it was not even, people weren't mixing even electronic music
right.
until recently.
Yeah.
And when you say recently, it's like 5, 10 years
Exactly.
ago. So it's really not common to have like, I guess, the common knowledge of pop and rock to go like, I mix a song, I send it to a mastering engineer.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not.
It's rare. So happening that we do mastering sometimes,
Yeah.
and it's something that I'm passionate about it, but mastering our own track, it's almost not mastering. It's
Yeah.
just finalize the level that we want.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
That's why you say
Yeah.
it's more of a part of mixing
It's part of
than
the
an actual
mixing.
mastering. That's why you have your hybrid setup there.
Exactly like that. I want to show one of the coolest
Yeah,
things
yeah.
that we have. This little guy on the side that you see, it's a piece of Ransomware mixer from 1978 that we cut from 20 channel to 4.
So you just have those 4 channels. It's,
four
not the, because
channel.
the picture's
It's a
cut.
sidecar,
It's really, yeah.
new power supply, a lot of tricks inside. And the little sidecar, it was Nirvana first mixer when they did the first album. So it's a really aggressive sound, really cool on snares. We even use, which is kind of weird, we use a mastering on parallel at one point to give some like weird, like crazy mid-range. So, and we build that, we attach to the rack, and it's super cool. That's pretty much the setup that we have. We have a patch bay, and but all the mastering gear is hardwired to the console.
Yep.
We
Okay.
have to be careful with how much we're doing. We have a power supply that's Taurus for all the
Yeah,
gear.
big isolation power supply. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
that's
since
it.
we see quite a bit of hardware in your
Right.
setup, you hybrid mixing and mastering, and I suppose you also obviously use plugins.
Right.
So what's your, I guess, view on people nowadays are like, yep, I'm 100% in the box. Is this something?
I
that-
respect that.
Yeah?
I respect it. I feel when I describe this, is this, let's say, listen, I drive every day. So let's say like I'm a driver. I drive a car. I try to drive the best possible car that makes my experience better, that I'm in a good mood, and I can perform better.
Yeah.
So not necessarily have like a piece of hardware is make a better sound than a plugin. It just
The way you use it.
enjoy it,
Yeah.
and then I'm able to just feel good about the mix. And also there's an organic part, use ends more, eyes less, and then be able to push a knob and stop when you feel
Yeah.
good.
So it's more about your experience.
It's just an experience,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's just, I guess, because most people would think about a guy that's mixing electronic music,
Mm.
mastering electronic music. They go like, it's entirely in the box on a pair of cheap speakers. So they
Right.
still have that view maybe of like what how it used to be done. Maybe.
exactly. But one important element is also, and again, the fact that we make us challenging more,
Yeah.
and we be able to use more sense. Even when we go plug in hardware, in my case, I build a mix in my head. I rarely go with a mouse and say, what I can use today between the 350 plugins. I just go straight to the point. With hardware, it's even more. I know my top end is that EQ. I know my low end is other EQ.
Yeah.
It's just more routine that I follow.
It's a workflow thing. It's
Yeah,
really
and I have to admit that I feel that a certain organic, if I can describe in one word the difference between plug-in and hardware to me still today, is the ceiling. We work with really high RMS level, and we want to retain dynamic at the same time. So when I feel the hardware allow me to have like a soft ceiling where I can push and just not destroy it. It's not going to break. It's going to change. So, and that's really important. So I'm able to work with dynamics in a better way than with just plugins.
Yeah. But I'm guessing everybody that's been actually producing the music, most
Yeah.
of the time it's mostly in the box and they bring it to you for
Right.
finalization. We've discussed it before, and I really, if it's possible, to talk about that. Like you were saying that it wasn't, EDM electronic wasn't really mixed before,
Right.
and they were just releasing it on iTunes. And I think you got some examples of that.
Mm-hmm.
That essentially some things were released, and then you had to come up and go, I can mix things.
Oh.
It's
Yeah.
you shouldn't be doing this by yourself.
Right, yeah. No, it's happened a lot where you don't even, before was not even like a question. It was like, okay, I produce sound design, I do everything, and the song is finished. There we go.
Yeah.
Now, be able to be detached from the song. So I listen to the song twice, and I mix the song. My decision in the first 15 minutes, 20 minutes, the main decision are there. And the producer, they play the song for 400 times.
Yeah.
There is a sitting, like stock. So it's a different approach. When I try to describe is, you go on Beatport, you go on iTunes,
Yeah.
you make a decision to buy a song, you like it, you don't like it, in a few minutes, right, you play. In my case, I'm able in a minute, 2 minutes, to pick what I don't like and just fix it right away. I'm not going for like the small mid-side crazy stuff. I'm going for big stuff, first.
You're looking for the energy.
For the energy, the vibe. And then I can spend 3 hours to do crazy automation, to do like mid-side expansion and weird stuff. But then the initial portion for me is like, I want to feel good. I want to just feel some emotion from that. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So did you want to go into specific examples maybe?
Yeah, I brought for you guys some before and after mixes that can be kind of cool. I hear a lot of people say, okay, but how you receive the song? Play the rough for me.
Play the rough,
So
yeah.
I play some rough and I play some final master. And again, I don't want to call final master. I'm going to call the final song, the final mix.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to bring some extreme one. I mixed a Drunken Love for Beyonce that Diplo produced.
Yeah.
That song has an interesting story. I want to play that first. It's been released as a rough mix because Time, they sent us the stems on Friday. The
Has
one
to
they
be
mixed on
done.
Saturday, I was out of town. They released it. Then a year later, I had an idea. I say, I want to use this song for a workshop. And I went to Icon Collective, and we mixed the song again in 3 days. And I destroyed the rough, of course.
Yeah.
And then I asked Diplo, what about if we re-release, like we replaced the file? And we did that, like iTunes and some parts.
Yeah.
So I brought for you guys the mix that came out and the mix that I put out a year later, essentially.
And I guess we don't have to explain which one's which.
No,
If
I'm going
not-
to just jump around between the
Yeah,
two,
yeah.
and I'll let you guys pick, okay? All right, let's do it.
Good, good.
All right. Here we go. The only element that was not able to mix was Beyonce vocal. I received everything wet, so...
Because you're just not allowed to touch that.
No.
I've been drinking, I've been drinking.
I'm going to switch, okay?
I get filthy when that liquor get it to me. I've been thinking.
Check low
Why
end.
can't I keep my
Extreme
fingers
low,
off
extreme
it,
top.
baby, I want you. Na, na, na. Why can't I keep my fingers off it, baby, I want you. Na, 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 na. Woke up in the kitchen saying how the hell did this shit happen? Oh, baby, oh, baby.
Other one. Yeah. When I felt right away, I say, okay, it's missing details on the top, it's missing mid-range transient, high-end transient, and just bring the mid-range in the front of the mix. This is something that I try to do all the time. Compress the 1K, 2K to 6K. It brings the track in front of the mix, and when you play it on the iPhone, it sounds a little louder.
Okay.
That's like to make it like short.
So
Yeah.
in those cases when you receive mixes, is there any difference between? I mean, did you receive like a gazillion and a half tracks? Or did they just give you like a
Yeah.
few stems to work with?
In
or how
this
does-
case, was kind of like a 30, 40 stems pre-mixed in some way.
Okay.
Luxury to work, and I'm sure that Fab can confirm, and other can, to luxury to work on dry stems today,
Yeah.
it's like a 10%, 5% in
It's-
so
you're saying it's
rare.
it's pre-mixed.
And what happened? We make party, like we go to the bar, we have a drink because say, man, we have dry stuff to work with. So most of the time it's being pre-processed in some way.
Yeah, it's part of the production, so they don't.
It's part of the production. So there was like process. I have one song that I brought that was completely dry.
Okay.
And that's really bring what happened before and after, able to reshape the song completely.
Yeah, yeah.
Wanna play that?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
So it's a great song. It's called, it was #1 in France, actually, from Fader. That was the rough. Vocal record, Abbey Road, amazing recording. A lot of instrumental being played, the moog, the drum. Vocal. Right. Especially here. Before, pretty low. Okay. Mute it.
Yeah,
Kind of open up. It was a dry, so it was like, challenging and put like double or more of the time.
yeah, it gives you a lot more options too to
so
work
good,
and
so
be able to
good.
do.
Yeah.
So you just said something quite important, that you did a lot of compression in the mid range, to actually sound good on the phone.
Yeah.
Which obviously brings the question of, and a lot of people have been asking this in general, is like, it wanted to translate to the outside world, and maybe electronic is one of those things that's even more medias to play in.
Right.
I mean, especially since you're doing the final mastering and you wanted to translate, how many things do you have to think about, like phone and this and that, and
It's a good point. Usually, the mid-range thing is start from the real beginning. So the track, if it doesn't have, if it has a smiley face, means mid-range.
Yeah.
I compensate at the beginning of my mix. I mix into an EQ decision that I do from the real beginning. Then compression. I want to make sure that I do some parallel compression in the mid-range to bring the mid-range up.
Yeah.
So low-level information in mid-range, I wanted to bring it up. What's going to happen, by default, you're going to feel a more dynamic top and low. Because now when you compress the mid,
Because your
by
mid's not
default,
moving as much,
It's
yeah.
not moving much. Now you feel the top and the low is moving.
Yeah.
So if you leave a little bit of dynamic movement on the low and the top, you say, wow, the track feels like not over-compressed, but it's compressed in the right spot.
And if you listen to it on, you said you like a laptop or something that has
Yeah.
no top, no bottom.
No,
you
but then
still-
you have the mid-range in the front. Exactly.
So that would be your laptop, your sources that have no top and no bottom.
Right,
I
exactly.
mean, you have to. Then you work. You make a lot of different files. Like you make your vinyl. You make a lot of vinyls.
Yep.
With the EDM stuff.
Right.
So how many masters do you end up doing?
Oh, usually we do get ready for this. We do a YouTube, we do the Instagram.
so you do a separate one for Instagram.
The Instagram is like 3 dB lower.
Okay.
Because how many Instagram promo records, like, it's distorted. So YouTube, Instagram, we do the kind of like iTunes master, of
Yeah,
course.
right.
And the overall,
Distorted more like
clock
radio,
master. Yeah,
um,
exactly. Radio, sometimes we do a little bit more dynamic range, especially for FM radios.
Mm-hmm.
Not a problem for the digital radio, but for FM, still there's like this old school analog limiter that push everything.
And you
up.
might do a different master for vinyl.
Yeah, we do a little bit. Yeah, vinyl, shape the top, shape the bottom, make sure there's no side information on the bottom. We don't have the needles to move, so the 30 hertz under control. We don't do much vinyls, but what happened, we'll make sure that it's right.
So you do quite a bit of different media there.
5 or 6, and yeah.
Very crazy. Is there? I think that's the two songs you wanted to.
Yeah, I want to play another Major Lazer song that went really well. It's called Light It Up. Last difference in this case, because the rough was extremely good. So, but I want to play, like I say, both cases. You guys might know this song too.
Stand up like a soldier, baby. Yeah, I know you built like that. Gun it like a holster, baby. Show them say you're wicked like that.
And I managed the level on purpose to make sure that it's no loudness. I know that guy too. And then for this, I went for like clarity on the vocal and a trance response. Really fast, trance response. It was kind of like too loose. So trance response and retain and have the low end that is grooving, that is moving.
Yeah, so you're really trying to take like as much almost space as possible to go almost, I wouldn't say like really bright and really low, and really keep the dynamic or the feeling of dynamic as much as possible in the song.
Absolutely. And keep it excitement and make sure there's automation through the song where the verse, I need to breathe more.
Yeah.
So the verse, just breathe more and groove more dynamic range, less RMS level. And then when we hit the chorus, then we bring RMS up and dynamic range down, okay? And a DJ trick is 1 bar before the drop, we pull 2 dB down. So, yeah, so lower the level. Let's come in the front.
But that's why you say your DJ experience has, you know where the flow of energy in
Right.
the song is going.
Exactly.
Or you listen to the track differently because
There is also another interesting technical part. Subwoofer on club systems,
Yeah.
they have limiters. Now, if you let the limiters go and then you reset a little bit, when you hit, you have this perceived like dynamic and push. If you get with a super flat track, now you have the limiter that really constantly push the music down. And of course, the club, they don't really focus on the music that you do. You do like a general, slow release,
Yeah.
medium slow attack.
You just touched on something I think that's important. A lot of the times, again, translation-wise, maybe people thinking, I do electronic music, the first thing I want to see is, it translates into a club.
Right.
But I think you were telling me that the guys actually, and it's not the first thing that they check. I mean,
No.
Because
No.
it will end
And
up...
there's a lot of bad surprises too. So club system, they have usually not real stereo. Some speakers on club, very famous club, they have like left, right,
Yeah.
which is weird. They have, of course, mono subwoofer.
Yeah, there's never really an arrow to say, like, hit there
No.
for a perfect stereo image. I
No,
mean, I've never seen
and
that.
also club for like 6,000 people. You have like 300 people dancing like close to the right channel, right? Now, if you are not careful, you have tracks that have a kick drum, or in some cases, like if you have too much stereo information on the low end, you make the subwoofer do a fight. You're gonna hear this like very annoying.
And you might cancel
Yeah,
somewhere in the
you
room.
cancel,
So
yeah.
how do you approach like your left-right information then?
Yeah, we have like 6 hours because I can talk for days
You
about
have about
this.
3.5 minutes.
All right, let's do it. All right, mid-side information. Left, right channel like this. Mid-side, it's like mid and side like this.
Yeah.
You push the side up, and you have the mid. You tend to think as a tree. You think to have the tree, at the side is the tree, right? It's this.
Yeah,
So you take the side really short on the bottom, and then you open the mid-range, and you open more, and you start to close up to the top. In that way, the tweeter, the small guy, is not going crazy to try to translate side information in this little thing. We want to have side information on the middle one. So in the mid-range, when people say, well, your track is really wide and open, is the mid-range that is open. It's not the entire song that is wide.
So you really almost like, obviously the kick and all that is almost mono. There's
It's
no side
mono.
information, but you actually close it back on the top. And
Yeah, and I try to open 1 octave higher of the bass, start to open the side a little bit. And then if there is pads and I have control of stems, I make those pads very open on the side. Sample delays or anything that allow me to do it. And then I go up and then I start to close on the stream top.
So which is a really interesting technique because you know that it has to work in clubs with weird stereo, left, right stuff.
Exactly.
Since we're going to come close to an hour goes quick.
Wow. What's up?
So obviously you do also education and workshops and
very
training and
passionate
stuff
about
like that. So, I know you like to share a lot of what you're doing.
Love it.
So you have your video series. Tell us about what you're doing for
Yes.
workshops.
So with Studio DMI, we have an EDU division, and I love sharing. We have a community, people that love electronic music. They try to understand that they love sound. So right now, essentially, I'm going on tour, which is very exciting. So
as an actual workshop tour.
yeah, it's like a masterclass tour. Go to Rome to 2 masterclass, and I do each day Berlin, London, Paris, Cologne, and Amsterdam. Amsterdam is part of the EDE. It's Amsterdam Dance Event. It's a big master event for 400 people. I'm so excited. And in my approach, I'm not teaching anything. I share my workflow, my approach, and the way that I think mixing, not the actual trick that you should use to get your mix better. I say, that's what I do. They make me feel good. I make me feel confident about my mix. You might like it. And that's kind of my approach on that.
Yes, you give recipes, but in the end, they might take something else.
Absolutely. And in most of the case, it's not really about the tools that I'm using. It's about my approach and why I picked that tool.
Yeah, like somebody could apply this to a full in-the-box, system.
Yeah, oh yes. It's not about you should buy this to make your mix sounds better. You say, I go for this because it allow me to do.
It's your vision.
Yeah, it's my vision. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Are you planning a tour in the U.S.?
We have it not in the U.S. like Europe for now, but it's exciting. And so, especially for the European, I'm extremely interested to go from London to Paris to Berlin in a day because I want to really see in different cities what is the vibe, what is the local engineer, what are people that are really influenced by the local community feel about mixing. So that's going to be great. I can't want to wait.
Great, awesome. Is there anything else you wanted to share?
No, I can't.
Secret pictures, secret things?
No.
I mean, there's a conclusion, I guess,
Yeah.
to this like workshop / interview. is there like any artist that you like? Yeah, I'd like to. I mean, you worked with Skrillex and Diplo and all
Yeah.
that, and Stevie Aoki. Is there like a guy that you're like, yeah, okay, this guy still haven't worked with? And
Oh, there is like a 3 or 4.
Three or four?
No, 3 or 4. They're really. I tell you what I think. Sometimes it's hard because I listen like an amazing song
Yeah.
and I feel that song is amazing. That song should sound better. Like should have a better sounding mix. Imagine where you can take this song. And I'm extremely transparent. And sometimes my approach with the artist is like, I love your song. I think I can make your song sounds better. The song is out. On the next song, I really want to try. But it's like a feeling. Like I feel like almost it's strange. Like I listen to a song and say,
like,
no,
it's so good, but
this,
it could sound
right?
better. Yeah.
That's.
We've
And then
never
there's
had that
other
feeling before.
artists that I respect a lot
Yeah.
from different style of music. But that's kind of what I feel sometimes. I want to help, and honestly, yeah.
Great. Well,
Was
thanks a lot
amazing
for,
to be here.
Yeah.
And
after that, some of the guys, if you've missed part of the discussion, it's going to be right online on Puremix.live. And
by the way, Puremix, it's sick. Love it. Love what you guys are doing. It's amazing.
Great. Thanks,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Yoo-hoo. So thanks again, and
See you
guys,
guys.
if you have questions for Luca, stick around. And
Yeah,
thanks
fantastic.
a lot.
Thank you. Thanks,
Luca.
guys.
Cheers.
Thank you.